So in light of this picture of Lil Kim going viral on the blogs, I thought we could talk about how Featurism and colorism can really shatter someone's self-esteem. Now, Kim did already have a shaky background, right? She does come from an abusive home, so I feel like, you know, she was even less prepared than the average person to deal with Featurism and colorism, because her dad was physically abusive towards her, according to what she said, which I wholeheartedly believe, right? When her parents divorced when she was 9 years old, for whatever reason, she didn't go and live with her mom. She stayed with her dad, and he was physically abusive towards her, so much so that they got into it when she was 14, you guys. I really want you to let that sink in. 14, and she had to leave the house to go and stay with a friend, but she was also homeless, so I guess there were times where she could stay with the friends and time where she had to stay on the street. I don't really know, but imagine being homeless when you are 14. I want you guys to really think about being a 14 years old girl, how vulnerable you are as a teenager, being in the street by yourself, right? That is something that is unfathomable to me. Really, really sad. That's when she met Biggie and then was in a relationship with him. Like, he helped her with her music career and stuff. I'm sure you all are aware of that story. And of course, being with Biggie didn't help, right? He was a colorist. The relationship that they were in was one where DV was involved, allegedly. Well, it's not really alleged, but you know. And that is something, again, that doesn't surprise me, given her background, since she was suffering from the father wound, since her own dad was physically abusive toward her. It's not surprising that when time came to date, even though I'm really not sure that 14, 15 is the right time to date, but whatever, when she got in her first relationship, the relationship was also an abusive one. Make sense given, again, her background. So it was a very, very toxic relationship with Biggie. He allegedly forced her to get rid of a pregnancy that she didn't want to get rid of, which really, really tough, right? He used to verbally abuse her, telling her that, you know, she was an older, that she didn't physically meet, I guess, the beauty standard. He used to physically abuse her. I'm saying duh, even though it's really sad. And of course, he then left her to marry Faith Evans, which is a woman that looked nothing like her, which I guess is really the last nail that hit the coffin for Kim. So yeah, and all of that, I guess, plus her childhood didn't help. So Kim started going down the surgery drain. And I want to say that I'm not against plastic surgery at all. If anything, I'd say I'm pro plastic surgery. Plastic surgery is not for dogs, okay? It was made by human beings for human beings. So I'm not inherently against women, people really getting plastic surgery. However, in Kim's case, we're dealing here with an addiction and, you know, just not good stuff, right? Like, if someone gets work done and it's really tasteful work, think of Aaliyah's nose job. It's one that we never talk about, but it is one for the books. Aaliyah had the best nose job in the game, allegedly. You know, it's not really alleged. If you've seen them before, after pictures, okay, but it's one for the books. Whoever did that, that's musician work out there. It looks like she was born with this nose. Really nice work, right? So if that is the route that Kim would have gone, you know, like Kelly Rowland, Halle Berry, I don't think that people would have said something, because you don't really hear people coming for Kelly Rowland for having had work done, or Halle Berry, right? But the thing with Kim is she went the Michael Jackson route. She also keeps getting nose jobs over and over and over again, to the point where now she barely has a nose. Like, sometimes I look at her picture and I wonder whether she can breathe well. There's also the bleaching, right? Like, she used to look a lot darker than this, you guys. And I remember, because I was obsessed with Kim when I was 12, okay? And I remember she looked nothing like this, okay? She was a lot darker than this back then, back in the day. So, you know, obviously the relationship with Biggie, I really feel like, you know, especially when he left her and married Faith, I really feel like that is where things became really bad for her, because you know, he didn't marry her, and yet he went and married somebody that I wouldn't say looked nothing like her, but you know, looks very different to her, definitely. That plus, you know, the shaky childhood, I really feel like it was more mentally than she could handle. And I think that because even after him, Kim has never been very good at choosing partners. Like, it's not only Biggie that she's been with that has been a relationship that is questionable, and this is why I think her childhood is really to blame here, because even after Biggie, all of the men that she's dated, they were all problematic, right? DV was an issue a lot of the time, so I feel like her picker is off, you know, poor thing. And I do think that the father wound, you know, there's a reason why people talk about daddy issues, because when you are somebody with the father wound, it will really affect how you date, who you date, etc, etc, you know, unless you go to therapy and work really hard on yourself, it's really going to affect your dating life and your life period. So Kim has never been very good at picking partners, in my opinion. And you know, I really wonder how the fact that she's changed herself so much is going to affect her daughter, because her daughter looks just like young Kim to me. Like, she looked a lot like what Kim used to look like back in the day. So I really wonder if her daughter, when she comes to age, is going to start getting surgery as well, because I cannot imagine raising a child with a healthy sense of self-esteem when you are Lil Kim and have gotten done, you know, all the work that Lil Kim have gotten done. So I really don't see her telling her daughter about self-esteem and loving herself just the way she looks. Like, I mean, I can see her saying it, I guess. I imagine she can say it, but how can her daughter believe her when she herself has changed herself so much? You know, if she just have had again 1 or 2 procedures done, I guess, but she has changed herself so much that I don't know if, even if she was to tell her girl that, her girl was to believe. But then again, I guess there's an argument to be made for the fact that she could use herself as an example as well, and tell her daughter that, see, you know, how bad it turned out for me, so don't go down this road. So I guess one could also see it that way. I don't know, but it is definitely something that I'm curious to see in the future, especially since her girl is getting older. I guess she's a preteen now, so I'm really interested in seeing how the fact that Kim had so much work done is going to affect her daughter, if she sees pictures of how Kim used to look like, which, you know, are online and we can all access. But yeah, you guys, in this one I really wanted to talk about how we joke about these subjects, you know, when women come online and complain about the colorism that they face. People call them colorism crybaby. I have been called, or I'm often called, a Featurism crybaby, but the things are deep, you know, they can cut very deep. I've told y'all 10 days ago, I've read you the email that I've gotten about the woman who decided to have a biracial daughter because she's been through so much as a child when it comes to colorism, texturism, and Featurism, right? So people are out here making decisions based on, you know, what they've been through as kids, because again, it stays with you, right? What you experience from age 0 to 7, it really stays with you, and it's not as easy to shake as people think. Even when you go to therapy, you guys, like, even after you've been, therapy is not a place that can cure all things. Like, this is really something I hate about therapy culture right now, and I love therapy culture, right? I love the fact that everybody's pro therapy nowadays, that going to therapy is encouraged a lot. But I do hate therapy speech. I hate the fact that also people are making it seem as if no matter what you've been through, if you just go to therapy, you're going to be able to heal from it. That is not necessarily true, in my opinion, right? There are some things, unfortunately, that even therapy can't heal. It gets better, right? But I don't feel like we can really heal from certain traumas, certain things that really cut deep, even after years and years and years of therapy, right? There are some things that if you've been through them, you're just going to have to carry them with you all of your life, and it's going to affect you all of your life. Hopefully less and less and less as you become older, as you heal, but it's something that is going to stay with you if it was very significant, very painful trauma, right? So, but that's a tangent. Y'all know me, I have ADHD, right? That has nothing or very little to do with the video. But yeah, you guys, be kind to little dark skin girls when you see them in the street. Compliment them, I mean genuinely, right? Find something about them that you really like, whether it's their outfit, their hair, whatever, their eyes, their smile, and give them a compliment on it, because it could mean more than you know, right? It could really be something that stays with them for a long time, and you know, you could be making a difference in the life of a stranger without even knowing, right? So yeah, that's it, you guys. That's really what I wanted to talk about in this video. I thought we could do a little, it's a very little deep dive on Kim's life. I know her life and her legacy is a lot more than this. You know, she was the precursor and the blueprint for somebody like Nicki Minaj, right? Kim had crazy talent, and I loved her and her music as a teen. So very revolutionary when it comes to women in rap. Her, Foxy, even though in my opinion Kim was a lot more talented than Foxy, they both, you know, are the first black women that I've seen, you know, women in my generation, so around 40, seeing in, you know, entering the rap game, the music game. So yeah, shout out to Kim. I really hope things get better for her mentally. You know, at this point I think physically is a toss. You know, I don't really see things getting better. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, they've gotten worse and worse. But you know, mentally I hope that she gets to a place where, you know, she finds some solace and some healing. That is definitely my wish for her. If you like this video, do not forget to give it a thumbs up. In the comment section down below, let me know, why do you think that Kim has made such a drastic change in her appearance. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel as well as becoming a member, and I will talk to you guys as always tomorrow. Bye guys, thanks for watching. Mwah.